Coach Bud to me just isn't good enough, and that's why I have them fourth. They're still in the top 5 because their team is so good, but Coach Bud is such a bad coach to me that I think they're gonna get undone.
So what is he? How does he use Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday in a way that you don't like, Mars? What's the problem?
Okay. The issue with the way they use Giannis on offense, he needs to be off the ball. I don't like that he's isolating on the wing this much. They're not using him as a role man at all. Very rarely. When they do, they get good looks. Drew Holiday handling the ball in the pick and roll. But Coach Bud, he's always had this idea when he has superstars that he just gives them the ball and prays for them to figure something out. When he was coaching Atlanta, the team moved the ball. They played good team basketball. They didn't have enough talent to get over the hump. But he gets a superstar like Giannis, and then he just says, Giannis, isolate on the wing. And that's not Giannis's game. He's not being used to the best of his ability. And I think in the playoffs, that's easier to game. He's not being used to the best of his ability.
What type of exhaust fumes are you on, dog?
I was.
Bro, the man,
Giannis is still the best player in the world. Yeah.
Hold on, keep going.
I know what he averaged.
The man averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, and more blocks than KD for the last 5 years. What are you talking about there?
Who said KD's name?
In less minutes.
Who said Kevin Durant's name?
And average more points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, and more steals than KD. Look it up.
Okay. That's cool. Who said Kevin Durant's name? Because it wasn't me. None of us even said the Brooklyn Nets. So why did you bring him up?
Okay, hold on. He averaged better than all them other dudes you said then.
That's cool because he's the best player in the world. I agree. What's your point?
So what are you saying he's not used
because he could be used better. Just because you're the best, it don't mean you can be better.
How are you supposed to be used better?
I was explaining it and you cut me off. Okay. Coach Bud is using him on the ball way too much. He's not an isolation scorer. He shouldn't be isolating on the perimeter. They should be using him off the ball in pick and rolls in the dunker spot, letting guys like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, who are more capable on the perimeter, to let them create shots for Giannis, and he'll be way more efficient. I think his gravity off the ball is better than his gravity on the ball. In transition, that's where you give the ball to Giannis, let him push down in transition, draw the defense, collapse, or either score or find teammates. That's cool. In the half court, Giannis needs to be off the ball a lot more. You need to trust your guys like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton to handle the ball, which is their job, instead of just making them, here you go, Giannis, it's your turn. We'll have a go maybe every once in a while. We'll never run any pick and roll. And the biggest issue for me with Coach Bud is his defense. He doesn't adjust. And you go against teams in the Eastern Conference like a James Harden, who is great at finding shooters and getting into the paint, collapsing the defense. The Bucks live on collapsing the defense and leaving wide open shooters. For me, the teams in the East, like even the Brooklyn Nets to a lesser degree, they have enough shooters where they're going to punish the Milwaukee Bucks for playing that terrible defense that they keep doing in the playoffs. Because A, a lot of teams got hurt. B, Giannis was having a all-time great playoff run, and they were hiding the deficiencies of Coach Bud. Last year against the Boston Celtics, they could have won that series without Chris Middleton if Coach Bud just didn't keep staying with that stupid defense he was doing, leaving shooters open every single game, leaving the Boston Celtics to have about 50 threes in game 1, Grant Williams making 7 in game 7 because he didn't want to adjust. And I think that's going to be the downfall of the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think the fact that they won a title in 2021 saved Coach Bud's job for the long term.
That's true.
And I think that means that in the long, I think they could have won more championships if they didn't win in 2021, fired Bud and got a new coach. But
here's the.
Let me spank this young fella. Let me spank this young lad. Listen, young fella. First of all, you say he's using Giannis wrong. That's a lie. Because if he sets Giannis up in the dunker's box or puts him in the post all the time, it's easier for the defenses to read what he's going to do. He actually mixes Giannis up pretty well. He uses Giannis the best out of all of them because he allows Giannis to play outside and inside, which gives defenses a problem because it doesn't allow them just to load up on him when he's in the post. Therefore, when he's playing from the perimeter, what happened was at first, Giannis's skills was the problem.
Yo, who's wilding in the background?
That's me. My bad.
Giannis's skills was the problem at first. It wasn't the coach. It was Giannis's skills because when they put up the wall, Giannis's skill set wasn't great enough to overcome that. Now, Giannis improved his game individually, and now the wall is much less effective because Giannis can score in other ways. He can pull up, hit the little mid-range jump shot enough to keep the defense honest. See what I'm saying? So you got to get out that old school of thinking that just, we're going to put him in a dunker box and put him down here, give him more higher percentage. No, you have to let guys play more of a universal type of game. So with Giannis, the fact that he's able to push the ball in attack, the fact that he's able to get it on the wing and create, what that does is he needs to be the one to give everybody else the better opportunities. Not everybody else to get him his, because he gets his shot better than anybody else is on that team. So he can get Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best at willing his opportunities since probably would say LeBron James getting to the back in his prime, getting to the basket.
I also think, Mars, that you underrate Giannis as a one-on-one player. I think that he's a lot better one-on-one player than you give him credit for. That's number one, particularly when he's on the wing and not on the box. And number two, I also think that you underrate him as a passer and a playmaker with the basketball. Not without.
I think he's a
right.
great passer.
And I think a lot of that has to do with him having the basketball when he's in the half court. He creates a lot of offense for Jrue Holiday. He creates a lot of offense because of the attention that he demands just with him having the basketball. I think you underrate that a little bit. Now, on the flip side to that, I also think that when they were playing against Boston, the game plan was, if we're going to lose, Grant Williams, you're going to have to do it. There was no need for adjustment. You tip your hat to a guy in Grant Williams, a rotation guy. You tip your hat to a guy who makes 7 threes coming off the bench, because we're not planning for that. And the reason why we're not planning for that, because we don't think you can do it. If you can do that, then we'll live with that. As opposed to, we also not planning for Jason Tatum going for 46. What are we going to do with Jason Tatum? Are we going to double him? Is Giannis going to cover him? We didn't have Chris Middleton. We already had Jrue Holiday trying to cover him. There weren't many people that were able to deal with him. So Giannis basically canceled him out with his 42 and 20. The difference was Grant Williams, who not only did you not account for that, you basically were going to live with that. And if we're going to lose, we tipped our hat to a rotation guy making 7 or 8 threes coming off the bench.
I agree with Mars. I agree with Mars.
We'll let him do that again. Like if they played again tomorrow, or if that was game 6, they would be like, Grant, you got to hit 7.
No, we're gonna live with that. If we're gonna lose, we'll live with you. We'll live with you making 8 to 10 threes. We'll live with that.
I agree with what Mars is saying, because I don't.
You have to adjust. Especially in the game 7, you don't see someone make 4 wide open corner threes and you still don't close out to him.
Well, no, I don't agree with that. I agree with you that I don't think Coach Bud doesn't use Giannis. He doesn't maximize him correctly, because I agree. There's definitely times in a half court setting where, like, Bud should not be like relying too heavily on him of self-creation, especially Jrue Holiday's developed slightly as a ball handler and a facilitator. So like, yeah, there's definitely depths in their offense that they should definitely get into. The numbers also back up the simple fact that when Giannis is a role man, he in the offense just looks way better. And on top of that, like even in the post, I've been screaming for years that Giannis should be more active in the post.
Ron,
that's all.
And I'm not saying never give Giannis the ball in the perimeter.
That super chat
I'm just saying he needs to be off the ball more than he is.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. The player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.